I've been running this 8 cubic foot refrigerator solely off a 280 amp hour lithium battery from Redodo. It's been 4 days now and we're down to 53% state of charge. So the math tells me we could go 8 days on this battery. But that's only part of the story. You're going to want to stay tuned to find out the rest. Hey everyone, Randy here for Go Midwest Fishing. This is my brand new 2025 Coachman Apex Nano off-grid 194 BHS. And just like most new RVs these days, they've gotten rid of the absorption style refrigerators, which can run on propane, and they have now switched them over to 12 volt compressor fridges, which I gotta admit, they are pretty much better in every way except the fact that they consume a lot more electricity. So I got an 8 cubic foot Furrion refrigerator in here, and we're gonna see just how long it'll last on battery power and what it'll take to run this thing indefinitely. All right, let's go inside and take a look. Here's the fridge. It said it's 8 cubic foot Furrion. Pretty nice fridge. And take a closer look inside. So freezer's got a pretty big compartment there, and nice room in the refrigerator also. And right here is going to be your control. So you go min all the way up to max, and you do have an off-grid setting right there. Now, the thing to know about this refrigerator is you only have the one control setting. I was kind of hoping I could turn off the freezer if I didn't need it, because that's going to use the most power. And I usually don't bring a whole lot of freezer goods, but you got to run both of them at the same time. So let's see how much power this thing actually takes. All right, I'm looking at the manual that came with the fridge, and there's not a whole lot of information in here. I'll show you what I found that pertains to this. First thing here, it says the recommended operating temperatures for proper food storage. It says the fridge should be between 36 and 40 degrees, and the freezer should be less than 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Then if we come up here, it tells you what the settings will do. So on max, the fridge is going to be at 30 degrees, and the freezer will be at minus 12. Then all the way down to minimum, the fridge is at 46 and the freezer is at 8 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you can see all the in-between temperatures there. So one thing to note is the recommended temperature for freezer is less than 0. The only one that goes less than 0 is on max, and that's at minus 11 degrees. All the other ones are like 1 degree, 5, 6, and 8 degrees. Now to give you a better look at the temperature control knob, you can see it right here in the book. You got the off, and then you got basically minimum and maximum. Kind of right on the lower end here, you have the off grid, and that'll it's supposed to help preserve your battery for you, but still keep it cool enough to preserve your foods. They do say if you have meats and that kind of stuff, to put it in the middle shelf towards the back to try to keep it at the coolest spot possible. Now, how long will this fridge run off of just a battery? Well, the shorter answer is anywhere from less than a day up to indefinitely. And it all depends on a lot of factors. So it depends on how you have yours set up. The book here says at ambient temperatures of 68 degrees, let's say if operation time is 100%, then at 110 degrees Fahrenheit, you lose, it goes down to about 25%. So the outside air temperature really plays a big role in how long your battery will last. Probably the easiest thing to do is upgrade your battery, get the biggest battery possible. I'm going to show you the one that I got. All right. This here is a Rodeodio 280 amp hour lithium battery. Now this thing is gigantic, and I think I'm gonna love it. Now I did a lot of research on batteries, and this is the one I settled on. It's a gigantic battery. It's a good quality battery. I watched lots of videos of people tearing these things apart and testing them, and they all said it's a good construction, well-built battery, and it's one of the most affordable lithium batteries out there right now. Now, I will say there are some, if you've listened to the news, there are some tariffs in place right now that may change the price of some batteries. So you'll have to go online and check the links below and see exactly what they're going for at the moment. That price is subject to change. But a few of the stats on this battery, it comes with a nice little book here. The capacity is 280 amp hours, like I said. It puts out 3,584 watt hours. Now, I couldn't find much information on the fridge, but on the Furrion website, it does say this fridge takes approximately just over 1,000 watt hours a day to run. And like I said, there's a lot of varying conditions with that, but if this thing puts out 3,584 watt hours, that means it should be able to run at least 3 days just on this battery alone. Now, being a lithium battery, it'll last you, good probably 10 years. It goes cycle life's greater than 4,000 cycles. It does have a battery management system on board, and recommended charge current is 56 amps, but you can charge it up to 200 amps, which means you can recharge this thing very quickly. And max continuous discharge is 200 amps, so it can put out a lot of power. All right, now one of my favorite features about this battery, it's got built-in Bluetooth with a battery monitor, so you can see all the stats of your battery right on your phone. Because if you know with lithium batteries, you can't really go off by battery voltage because it holds a very steady voltage until right before it's going to die, and then it'll drop off sharply. So you need some kind of battery monitor if you want to know how much is left. So this is the app that comes with it. You got the Rodeodio app, you connect it via Bluetooth, and then it tells you right on here how much power the SoC is state of charge. So we're at 99% right now. Power using 0 watts, current 0 watts, and the voltage is at 13.3. And the capacity there is 291 amp hours currently. And then you also got battery info, the name of the battery, its current temperature it's at, how many cycles you've done, and the firmware. So this is a brand new battery. I've just used it just a little bit. So it helps if you go through a few charge cycles to get full use out of it. And also, make sure your camper is set up for lithium power. Not all charge converters do lithium, especially if your camper is a little bit older. These newer ones have an auto detect, like mine here, but you do have to run it through a couple cycles for the auto detected tell it's a lithium. So just make sure your camper is able to charge lithium, and if it's not, you can always change out your charge converter. I plan on doing a lot more off-grid camping this year, and obviously this will power the fridge, I said, for probably just over 3 days. But then you got to think you're powering lights, you got maybe the furnace fans kicking on. All the other things that use electricity here are also going to draw on the battery. So your next best bet is to add solar to the roof to help keep the battery charged up. This one came with 200 watts of solar. I'm going to add another 200 watt panel, so we'll have 400 watts on the ceiling. Right now, I'm parked in my shed, so it's not getting any energy from the solar panels. And I'm going to hook this up and see how long the fridge will run just as is. The weather hasn't really been cooperating. It was like only in the 30s this morning, but it's supposed to get up into the 60s for the next few days, so it's not real hot out. So it'll probably run longer than it normally would on a hot summer day. But I figure I'll just put it in, we'll crank it up to max and just see what it does, how long it'll run just off the battery. All right, first we have to install this battery. So let's go up front and show you how I'm going to do that. All right, we're outside here. I got the battery on the tongue, and I want to show you something. Now, on a camper this size, the battery rails here are about 8 inches apart. This battery, I think, was about 10.5 inches wide, so it's not going to fit on the rails here. So I need an alternate means of installation for this huge battery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the pass-through storage right here. I'm just going to have to reroute some of the wires to come up into here so I can wire it to the battery. So we'll just take the wires here. We got 2 from the solar panel on top, 2 that go back to the power converter and goes underneath the frame there. And then looking inside here, the wires are right underneath here, so I'll just pop a hole in the floor here, and then we'll put the battery right along here, and I got some tie downs that'll secure to the floor, and it'll be nice and safe inside the storage compartment. All right, time to get dirty. Changed into my work clothes. Let's go underneath and take a closer look. All right, so this set of cables right here, these 2 and these 2, we're just going through. They kind of foamed it up. We'll have to just take some tape off, some ties here, pull it back through, and it goes into this junction box here. And then this goes back to the power converter. So what we're going to end up doing is just punching a hole somewhere right in here. and then just rerouting those cables up to there to get to the battery. All right, that's where the battery's gonna sit. I measured a couple times. I got this little hole cover right here, and if I drill straight down, I should miss the frame and miss all the wiring and everything. It should come out right where I want it to if I drill right there. Okay, that really wasn't too bad. I pulled both the black and white, or black and red wires through the styrofoam here, and then the solar charger attaches this green wire which goes to that junction box, so kind of left it out here and just routed it back through. The only issue was it has this fuse on the line and it won't fit through the hole I'm making or through right there, so I had to cut it off. So we just end up with that, but I can easily resplice that back on. So once I get it up through the floor, I'll re-put the fuse back on it. So all right, time to go up and start drilling some holes in that brand new camper. All right, the good news is the storage is big enough to crawl into. And let's just hope it comes out in the right spot. Right there. Here goes nothing. Oh yeah, it's solid foam. Shouldn't be any wires or nothing going through there. If I can go down till I pop out the bottom, then I'll know where to come up at. Go under, take a look. It's actually perfect. There we go. Popped her all the way through. There you go. You can see the bottom. Now to give it a nice finished off look, I'm putting these plastic grommets in. They're kind of get on like a computer desk or whatever. And this top piece here will pop off, so you can fit the bigger wires through and then pop it back on. I think I'm put a little glue here on the edge though, just so make sure it stays in there well. Just enough to make sure it sticks in there. There, nice finished off. Got one more for underneath, and I'll just pop the wires up through it. That went pretty smooth. Now I know where the battery is going to be. I got this little tie down system, so I'm going to screw a few of these buckles down onto the floor there, and we'll strap the battery down. All right, we made some progress. I got her all hooked up and cleaned up. I'll show you what I got. All right, there's the battery all strapped down. Those straps work pretty good. Got those off Amazon. They're stainless steel and some pretty heavy duty straps here, so they're better than the cheap ones that come with some batteries. And we'll look at the other side. There's where the cables come up the floor. I put the little cap on. All looks pretty nice there. I gave just a little extra loop there for some play and got her all plugged in. I'll show you underneath. All right, got a few less wires running through here. A little extra room there. But I taped that all up, tie strapped everything nicely. There you go, just a little extra cable here. So it runs up through, put the cap on there. This is the battery shut off, so the disconnect goes right there. And actually looks pretty clean. All right, it's been 24 hours. Fridge has been running on maximum, and freezer's definitely, it's got ice in it. Fridge is nice and cold too, so it's doing its job. Now, it got down to about 40s or so last night, but now it's quickly came up into the 60s. It's high 60s today, so I can definitely feel it's hotter right now. And that's said we're inside the shed, but I can feel it's kind of warm in here. So I notice I've been hearing it running more and more throughout the day. Like last night, it probably didn't run a whole lot. So I got the old app pulled up, currently at 85% state of charge. after about almost 24 hours. Now, I did, when I came here this morning, I realized I left some lights on, and I also ran the furnace several times just to keep it warmer in here so the fridge would have to work harder. And so that also used some of the electricity. You can see it's currently pulling 81 watts, and I just want to show you if I turn the furnace on, running both those at the same time. Now it's showing 111 watts. So early this morning when I did this, it was only pulling about 80 to 90 watts. So you can tell the getting hotter throughout the day here. It's pulling a little more power. I'll just keep coming back every day and we'll see what it's at. I said, so in one day, say it gets down to 80% here, that tells us we got, you know, maybe 5 days that we can power it off this battery. And like I said, I have been kind of opening the fridge a little bit and using stuff in here, kind of simulating, you know, an actual camping trip where you're using power other than just the fridge. So far, I'm very happy. It's if I can get that amount of time out of it, it'd be great. Again, it may be different in a super hot day. Like I said, it's upper 60s right now, which feels hot to me being in Minnesota, but I know it can get a lot hotter than that. All right, we'll come back tomorrow and give you another update. We are 48 hours in, and it's our hottest day yet. It's at 71 degrees right now. I noticed every time I came in here throughout the day, the fridge was running, so it's been using more power than normal than it has the first day anyway. So currently 72% left. Still got 211 amp hours, and that's 2 days in. So we're doing good, and said it's showing 80 watts right now as it's running. So I'll come back tomorrow and I'll show you again. Day number 3. We are at 61% state of charge and got 179 amp hours left. And so far I'm very impressed. At this rate, we should be able to easily get another 3 days out of it. So looks like about 6 days total if everything keeps going as is. All right, I'll check in tomorrow. Day number 4. We are at 53% state of charge, still has 155 amp hours left on the battery, and I gotta say I am quite impressed. Unfortunately, I'm heading to Florida tomorrow for several days, so I won't be able to continue to monitor this, but if we do the math, it says we have half our battery left, so we've gone 4 days. The math says we could go 8 days if we use the other 50%, which is way more than I was predicting. I was thinking it was only going to go 3 or 4 days. Under the current temperatures and stuff, it's a little bit cooler out, so we're probably going longer than normal. But the true test is when I take it on an actual camping trip, which will be coming up soon on another video. We're going to test it in the real world. I'll get the second solar panel on. We'll have 400 watts of solar parked outside in the hot sun, and we'll see how long we can go with it then. And I'll come back with an update to show you how well it does in the actual real world of camping. And so far I couldn't be happier with the 280 amp hour battery I got from Redodo. If you want to check one out for yourself, I'll put all the links down in the description. Everyone, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.